hand from my hand. Why don't people understand my intention?
What is going on? Here I am, trying to enjoy Avengers Endgame. I've been told that this film is absolutely incredible, and yet I can't hear a single thing. Something has happened to the sound on my TV. It's just not exciting. Why is it that films and TV aren't so exciting without the soundtrack? What do soundtracks add to the film? Why don't you tell the person next to you? Right. The music in the film can arouse different emotions, like fear, suspense, excitement, sadness, joy, to match what's happening on the screen. Let's play a game. I'm going to play the soundtracks of some of my favourite films. I want you to see if you can guess the film, tell me how the music in the film makes you feel, and then tell me why you think it makes you feel that way. I'll see you in a bit. In your books, you need to create 3 columns. 1, 2, 3. On the left-hand side, the first column, I'd like you to write film soundtrack. Now here, you can just put 1, 2, 3, or for some bonus points, you could attempt to write the name of the film. In the middle column, how does it make you feel? When you're listening to the music, do you feel scared? Do you feel excited? Do you feel happy or sad? And then over here, in the last column, on the right-hand side, why do you feel that way? Okay, so here is soundtrack number 1. Don't forget, how does it make you feel and why? So here is soundtrack number 2. A bit different, this one. Don't forget, how does it make you feel? And here is soundtrack number 3. Of course, the first soundtrack was Jaws. Now, that made me feel terrified, tense and anxious. But why? I think it's because the music was fast and loud. Number 2 was, of course, Mission Impossible. Very different soundtrack. This made me feel excited, happy and energetic, like I could go out there and brave the impossible. Possibly because this music was bouncy and more upbeat. And the final one made me feel quite sad and subdued. I guess that this is because the music is quite quiet and slow. I still need your help. So, what I'd like you to do now for me is raid your house. Raid the kitchen. See if you can find anything that makes sound. If you're at school, use the music cupboard. Otherwise, those of you at home, do the washing up, raid the cutlery drawer, and let's meet back here in a couple of moments. And here is my fantastic collection of instruments. Do you want to see how they work? Alright, number 1. Hey, what do you think? Number 2. Maracas! Number 4. Simple, but effective, right? Number 6. Number 7. And number 8, another maraca. Alright, task number 2. What I'd like you to do for me is sort these instruments into 2 groups. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to group them. I'm leaving that up to you. So, you might have grouped them by non-metals and metals. Or you could have grouped them by big and small. Or you may have grouped them by cutlery and not cutlery. However you group them doesn't really matter. But if you haven't yet grouped them by the sound they make, I'd like you to do that now. See if you can create 2 groups of instruments based upon the sound that they make. In your books, I'd like you to create what's called a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram is a diagram made of 2 circles slightly overlapping in the middle. On this side, I'm going to put all of my kitchen utensils, or instruments, which are loud. And over this side, I am going to place my quiet instruments. If you have a ruler, don't forget to underline those titles. Okay, loud instruments. Certainly those pots and pans. A quiet instrument. I think my cheese grater was quite quiet. What do you think would go in this middle space, I wonder? Absolutely right. Something which fits not quite in the loud category or the quiet, but in the middle. Just right, as Goldilocks would say. Maybe my metal spoon. And around the outside, anything which doesn't fit into either category. For me, at the moment, that's nothing, but perhaps you can find 1 or 2. One instrument I was not yet able to group was my glass of water. Here's why. My glasses of water, in fact, can do something extraordinary. Now, before I continue with this next part of our lesson, I must warn you, please do not try to replicate this at home. I'm about to use some very delicate, some very dangerous glasses. If the glasses shatter, I could end up cutting myself or somebody else. If you do wish to try what I'm about to do, make sure Mom, Dad, or whoever's looking after you is nearby. Okay, over to my table. See you there. These 4 glasses can produce some of the most amazing sounds. And all they need is a finger and a little bit of water. Check this out. Now, see if you can tell me the difference between the sound that this glass makes and the sound that this glass makes. Tell the person next to you and let the adult in the room know when you're ready to continue. Alright, did you guess it? Yeah, this glass sounded a little bit higher than this glass. And this glass sounded even lower. Oh, I wonder why that is. Why do you think? Okay, children, watch closely as I replicate the investigation again. Look at the water. Isn't that fascinating? We've just been exploring what us scientists call pitch. The pitch of a note is how high or low it is, and it's all to do with vibrations. Check out my elastic band. If I twang it when the elastic band is loose, I get a very low pitch. Now listen to this. High, low. So if you look very carefully, very closely at my elastic bands, those low pitch notes happen when the vibrations are very slow. And the more taut my elastic band becomes, the faster those vibrations happen, and we get our high pitch notes. Let's write this down in our books. So, in your book, what I'd like you to do is write a sentence about pitch. So, we can begin with the pitch of a sound is... Here I'm going to stop, and I'm handing it over to you. When you've written your sentence, if you tell the adult in the room, we'll continue. Here is my completed sentence. The pitch of a sound is how high or low it is. Faster vibrations create higher pitched sounds, and slower vibrations create lower pitched sounds. Did I say one sentence? I meant to. Now that you've seen me experiment with pitch, I think it's your turn. So pick one of those instruments you've found and see if you can create a high note and a low note with it. When you're ready, let the adult in the room know. So, here's a misconception. Listen carefully. Can you tell which of those notes was higher and which of those notes was lower? Right, that's definitely higher and that's lower. There's a difference between volume and pitch. We've just been looking at pitch. Now we're going to look at volume. Let's listen to that high note again. That's a quiet high note. That's a loud high note. What was the difference? Watch again. What am I doing differently to create more volume? This time we're going to write a sentence about volume. The volume of a sound is... Right, when you've written your sentence, or two, let the adult in the room know, and we'll continue with our investigation. So far, so good. The volume of a sound is how loud or quiet a sound is. Can you remember how I created more volume with my instruments? Let's write that as our second sentence. Hopefully, you've written the same as I have. I can create more volume by using more force. To create a louder sound, all I had to do was hit the instrument even harder. Alrighty, let's get loud. You've seen me create loud noises and quiet noises. Now it's your turn. So pick one of those instruments, maybe pick a different one to the one you used earlier, and create some loud sounds and some quiet sounds. When you're ready, we'll carry on. Do you know what that last dynamic of sound is? I'm going to give you a clue.
That simply means we speed things up or we slow them down.
The last dynamic is tempo. So I can play my instruments incredibly quickly, or I can play them nice and slow. Da-dum, da-dum, dum 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 dum. All right, here goes tempo experiment 1. That we would call a nice slow tempo. Tempo experiment 2. A nice fast tempo. Do you think you can create a fast tempo and a slow tempo with some of the instruments you found? When you're ready, let the adult in the room know. Okay, here goes our final sentence. This sentence is of course about the tempo. The tempo of a sound is... I'm going to let you write the end of that sentence. When you're ready, as always, let the adult in the room know. How did you get on? Hopefully you've written the same as me. The tempo of a sound is how fast or slow a sound is. And I think we're set. We've got everything we need and all we need to know to create a soundtrack to my film. So I'm going to show you a short clip of that film, and whilst watching, you need to make the following notes. So, you're going to need another table, this time with just 2 columns, one on the left and one on the right. On the left, I have the title, What's Happening on Screen. So here we're going to write down all of the action that's taking place in my short film clip. And on the right hand side, what will I do? What are you going to do with your instruments to create the correct atmosphere, to create the correct mood? If nothing much is happening on screen, perhaps we'll have a slow tempo, maybe some quiet music. If things are starting to get a bit exciting, perhaps the villain of the piece arrives, maybe the music gets quicker, we have a quick tempo, and the volume begins to increase. Remember, these are only notes, so you don't need to write full sentences, just a few quick jottings to help us plan our music. So I've completed my notes. Here we have at the beginning of the clip, Thanos' huge army appears. I was thinking loud music crashes, a fast tempo, maybe a low pitch, because it's scary. Then Captain America looks all alone, it's very sad. Maybe quiet music, a slow tempo. Then, wait a second, what was that? A transmission? That sounded a lot like... The tempo begins to increase, the volume builds. We start to create excitement. Avengers, assemble! All of the Avengers appear. Loud music, fast tempo, high pitch. Woohoo! Rightio, we've got our notes, we've got our instruments, we've talked about volume, pitch and tempo, we've got our clip. Let's roll that clip one more time, but this time you need those instruments at the ready. Can you create an exciting and intense and engaging score for my film? Don't worry, if you get it wrong the first time, you can always re-watch the clip again, and again, and again, and again. As many times as you wish until you're happy with the final product. Can I say a huge thank you for your help again today? I cannot wait to hear the finished products. Try and send them to me via email at year3@stontalbanrc.beham.sch.uk. If you can't share the soundtrack itself, then maybe just a photograph or some of your ideas. Meanwhile, I'm going to sit here and wait patiently, watching this very silent and not so exciting film. Until next time, bye bye for now.